first grade. I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you are ready to learn about our next lesson in our social studies economics unit. We've been learning about how people work to earn money, buy goods and services, things they want and need, and how people can be both producers and consumers. If you go to the store to buy something, are you being a producer or a consumer? You are a consumer. Now, have you ever gone to the store to get something and they didn't have any more of the item you wanted to buy? Sometimes the opposite happens. Sometimes stores will have too much of an item and no one who wants to buy it. This is called supply and demand, and it affects how people spend their money. Today, we are going to learn what supply and demand mean. I'm going to share my screen with you. So our lesson again today is on supply and demand. Our learning target, so at the end of this lesson, we should be able to explain how supply and demand affect what people buy. Our mini book today is called Supply and Demand, and the author, the person who wrote the book, is Karen Jones. Tegan and her mom are on their way to the store to buy an umbrella. It has been raining for days, and the weather forecast says that the rain is going to continue until next week. When they get to the store, they rush over to the umbrella rack. Oh no, the rack is empty. All of the umbrellas have been sold. Tegan and her mom decide to come back tomorrow to check for more umbrellas. Now, as a good reader, we are asking questions and we're thinking, what is the reason? Why are there no umbrellas on the shelf? Tegan and her mom couldn't buy an umbrella today because of something called supply and demand. Supply is how much of a good or service is available. If you look at the shelf in a store, you'll usually see lots of items. Those items are the supply of the store, how much they have to sell. In Tegan's case, there was no supply of umbrellas left to buy. Demand is how much of a certain item is wanted. The things that consumers, remember that word? The people who buy goods and services, want to buy changes over time. Many people in Tegan's community bought umbrellas. Why? Because the weather was very rainy. When an item is needed, the demand goes up. If it were sunny and dry for weeks, do you think the demand for umbrellas would be the same? Supply and demand can affect the prices of things. If a lot of people need to buy umbrellas, the store may raise the price. They can charge more because there is a high demand for umbrellas. If it's very dry with no rain, the store may put umbrellas on sale. They lower the price so that hopefully people buy them. Let's look at some other examples of supply and demand. It is winter. The weather is cold and snowy. Mink Market is selling winter boots. People rush to the store to buy boots. Is the demand high or low? All of the boots are purchased and there are none left to sell. Is the supply high or low? It is now summer. Mink Market accidentally gets a shipment of winter boots, but no one wants to buy them. Now, is the supply high or low? So since they have a lot of boots and nobody is buying them, the supply is high. And since nobody is buying them, the demand for them is low. Sometimes many people will want a good and there is not enough available. This is called scarcity. At Christmas time, many kids in Nina's town really want this new toy called the Whooping Walrus. Oh, do you see in whooping? Whooping. That's our sound spelling this week. Their parents scramble around trying to find this special toy for their kids. Stores sell their supply within minutes. The demand is high and the supply is low. There are not enough whooping walruses for each child to get one. The whooping walruses are scarce. Supply and demand affects choices people make. They decide what to buy and when to spend their money. Supply, demand, and scarcity all affect how people spend their money in our community. Let's look at some examples of supply and demand. It's spring. So think about what's going on in spring. It's starting to get a little bit warm. Target just received a large delivery of bathing suits to sell. Is the supply high or low? They have a lot of bathing suits, so the supply is high. Now it's summer. Target hardly has any bathing suits left to sell. Is the supply high or low? Why? Since there aren't a lot of bathing suits left, the supply is low. And it's low because it's summer and everybody's outside enjoying the water, the pool, the beaches, and they've purchased all the swimsuits. It's a very hot and dry summer. The Cherry on Top ice cream shop is very busy. Is the demand for ice cream high or low? Now remember, demand means if people want it or not, if the consumers want it. So it's hot and it's dry, and they're very busy. So the demand is high. The weather is getting colder and it's almost winter. The Cherry on Top ice cream shop is going to close for a few months. Is the demand for ice cream high or low? The demand right now is low because it's colder and people don't want to eat something that's cold. Most people. Supply and demand. It's August. Some kids are getting ready to start a new school year. Everyone needs school supplies. Is the demand for school supplies high or low? Now remember, if everybody wants it or a lot of people want something, the demand for that item is high. Stores are stocking up for back to school. They get new shipments of school supplies in every day. Is the supply of school supplies high or low? Since they are stocking up and they get new shipments every day, the supply is high. There is a cool new toy out called Roboman that every kid wants. Is the demand of Roboman high or low? Since so many kids want that toy, the demand is high. Stores all over are selling out of Roboman every week. Is the supply of Roboman high or low? So if you walk into a store and you can't get a Roboman, then that means the supply is low. Let's just take a quick look at this worksheet just to kind of test ourselves, okay? So is this low supply or high supply? Remember, supply is how much of something is available. So since there's nothing on the shelves here, we have a low supply. If we look at this shelf, it's full of items that people can buy, so we have a high supply. What does it mean if something has a high demand? Remember, demand means that people want it. So if there's a high demand, a lot of people want it. A lot of consumers want to get that good or service. Okay, down here, let's do a quick check. Number 1, supply is how much of an item is available for sale. True or false? That's true. Demand is how much people want the item or service. It's true. Supply and demand affect how people spend their money. That's true. Okay. So that is our lesson for today. Remember our I can statement. I can explain how supply and demand affect what people buy. So stay healthy, stay safe, and keep learning.